Hey there. It snuck up on me too. Yeah. I know. It was like, it was surprising, and it wasn't that long, and it was like brutal. I had more of a chance of drowning than, you know. You guys ready? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to call to order the special city commission meeting for tonight at September 4th, 2024, 7 p.m. We have roll call, please.
Commissioner Hudak.
Here.
Commissioner Parnas.
Here.
Commissioner Preston.
Here.
Vice Mayor Drosky.
Here.
Mayor Gantz.
Here. Before we have our moment of silence, I ask everyone to please keep in their thoughts and prayers Rhonda Quinn, a longtime City of Deerfield Beach employee who unfortunately passed away this morning, and the 4 individuals who were shot and killed in Atlanta, Georgia today in that school shooting. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have approval of the agenda tonight for September 4th.
So moved. Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Parnas, seconded by Commissioner Hudak. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Okay. Madam Clerk.
For those attending via Zoom online wishing to speak on the item, please click raise hand at the bottom under the reactions tab, and your audio will be unmuted when you are recognized by Mayor Gantz. For those attending via Zoom by telephone, please press *9 to raise your hand, and your audio will be unmuted when you are recognized by Mayor Gantz. Please make sure your audio is unmuted on your end by pressing *6. Thank you.
First and only item on tonight's agenda is item number 1, discussion and potential appointment of an interim city manager.
Who's leading off that conversation?
Whoever would like to do so.
Commissioner Preston.
Thank you, Mayor. As you remember, at the last city commission meeting, I said that this is a process that should take place sooner than later, is introducing an interim city manager until we can assign a new city manager. I think this is, and my colleague said, he didn't know at the time that there were people internally that were interested. We have all received resumes, I would say, and we've had a chance to look at that. And it is still my opinion is that as this process moves forward, is that we are beyond what we're doing tonight, which is identifying an interim until we can get a city manager assigned, that we ought vet those candidates that are internal for the city manager's position. I know that this dais has said to go and to find go out and start to the recruiting process, even though that may be initiated. I just think that there's a value to first going through and vetting the candidates. We've all had a chance to look at their resumes, and I'm impressed with what I've seen. And I think we ought to look and see if either the candidates have what we're looking for in a city manager as we move forward with this process.
Thank you, Commissioner Parnas, and then Commissioner Hudak.
Well, I've looked at the resumes and I've spoken to two of the candidates. And I feel that one to me stands out above the others. But I'll wait to hear everybody else before I initiate a vote for who I think would make the best city manager interim and maybe even permanent.
Thank you, Commissioner Hudak.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes. We've both received notification from the two individuals that are interested in both the interim and the permanent city manager position. It's Rodney Brimlow and Horace McHugh. I sat and spoke with both of them for well over an hour each, just to, learn more about them. Both of their resumes are extremely impressive. And we as a city are so fortunate to have both of these individuals in our leadership team. And I'm very grateful. To myself, the skill set for an interim city manager is different for the skill set of a city manager. And what I mean by that is an interim city manager needs to be very tactical, needs to, make sure that all of the projects that are in the process, all the balls that are in the air, stay in the air. The skill set of a city manager has to have that, but more importantly, they have to have a vision. They've got to really be able to put into action the vision of the city commission. So I'm really thankful that I got to spend some time with both of the individuals that applied for the position. And even if the one person gets the interim position, I don't think it's level set that they're going to be the top candidate or the first candidate for the regular position. That's how I view it.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Preston, want to speak again?
Yes, I do. I think that, we have an assistant, and my colleague said it best. Even if the interim is put in place, doesn't necessarily mean that person would be the top candidate for the city manager's position. But we have a system already in place. I think that it would be right to appoint Horace McHugh, the interim city manager. And I think we need to then vet both of them, because it may be that Horace would become the city manager, but it may be that Rodney Brimlow may become the city manager. So that's how I look at it. And, I think we should stay in that order. We have an assistant. I don't see any reason that he should not become the interim. And so I would make a motion that we make Horace McHugh the interim city manager.
Thank you. My discussions with the two gentlemen was strictly on the interim position, not about the full-time position. I don't know what their position is necessarily, if they're both would throw their hat in on that position. I will say that I think if those are the only two candidates internally that came forward for the full-time position, I think we could debate and go for which of the two would we feel most comfortable with in the permanent position, and determine which would be the best candidate for us at that point. But not knowing who else is out there, we might have the best of what's internal, but the best of what's internal might not be better than what's out there. So I know tonight is strictly about the interim, and I'd like to kind of keep it there for now, but I agree with Commissioner Preston. I think we have an assistant city manager. It makes the most sense. And I think, we have two outstanding internal candidates for the interim, and I am fully supportive of Horace McHugh moving forward as the interim city manager. Vice Mayor Drowsky?
It took a while, but we finally got a name, to come out. I was beginning to wonder if anyone had a preference, but I likewise have limited this focus to the interim position only. I likewise received the resumes and I spoke to both gentlemen for quite a long time as well. But we do have an assistant. We have a hierarchy for a reason. And so for the interim position, only, I don't see any reason why Mr. McHugh shouldn't be elevated. Obviously, this is effective upon the resignation or not resignation, the last day of Mr. Santucci's. So not today. He wouldn't be interim today. He'd be interim October 4, whatever the date is that Mr. Santucci leaves. So I think that needs to be part of the motion, but I don't see any reason why Mr. McHugh should not be elevated at this time. And I'm also very much in favor of continuing the process, the recruitment process, because we don't know what else is out there. And so we do need a level of comparison to see what is out there. And so to see what skill sets are available. I don't think it hurts to cast a wide net and to see what's available. We may end up with the two candidates that we have internally. And I likewise am not limiting this to that whoever gets the interim is automatically going to get the permanent as well. I told both of them, that's a totally different discussion, a totally different discussion when we get to that point in time. But as far as tonight, I would be supportive of Mr. McHugh, yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Hudak?
Yeah, my discussion was strictly on the interim position. It's my observations that each position has a different skill set. And if I said that incorrectly, I do apologize.
Commissioner Preston?
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to make it clear to my colleagues and to the citizens and residents of Deerfield Beach, I am not opposed to the recruitment process, not at all. But I believe that we should cast that broader net only after we have secured within ourselves that the internal candidates just don't fit the bill. That will save us some money. And, so I just want to make it clear that I'm not against it, the recruitment process at all. In fact, it may come a time that it is encouraged, but it doesn't cost us anything to first, because we know that those two internal candidates is going to be a part of that broader net. We can actually do ourselves a favor by internally looking at that and then deciding that it just is not what we're looking for. And now we need to do that. So
Thank you. Commissioner Parnas, Commissioner Hudak, and then we're going to open. Oh, you done, Commissioner Hudak?
Well, I disagree, Ben,
Commissioner Parnas, I guess.
on several fronts.
I know that.
Number one, for us not to look for a permanent manager now means that whoever we choose tonight, whether McHugh or Brimlow, if they fail, we're starting from scratch and we have a failed temporary manager. I think the search has to go on now, as soon as possible. And candidates should be submitting papers as soon as possible. Now, maybe one of these two would fill the bill and maybe not. I don't see us taking a chance with a $300 million budget. If it costs us $20,000 to get the right person to be our manager, so be it. So be it. We want the best possible candidate. Period. It might be them, it might not. What if it's not? Do we have to start from scratch? October 3rd, we have no manager. The interim is done. Forget about it. If you want nominations, I'll make one. I'll make a formal nomination. I think that Mr. Brimlow would make an excellent assistant manager, and he has my vote. And I recommend that we name him as the interim city manager.
Well, I think Commissioner Hudak, I'll let you speak, and then I'm going to pause that discussion until we can open to the public.
Perfect. I don't believe anything in the agenda item states that we should not be continuing the search or stopping the search. I'm hopeful that the search has started and we are looking for a permanent city manager, to include the two internal candidates. I'm hoping that direction was clear 2 weeks ago or the last commission meeting or whenever it was. Discussion is solely on determining an interim city manager. So please confirm that we have begun the search and we're vetting candidates.
Commissioner, you're not that far along in the process, but the background data is being put together and the recruiter will be reaching out to the commission at some point within the next probably 7 to 10 business days, talk to each one of you before that gets publicized.
Thank you. Anyone from the public care to comment on this item?
Dan Hers, 330 Southeast 19th Avenue. I feel it's very, very short-sighted to only discuss an interim city manager tonight. Some of the main reasons are $20,000 is a lot of money. To put into perspective, it's equal to the annual expense the city just incurred in giving each commissioner an extra $200 a month for gasoline. Also, you can save time by not having to get acclimated to a new, if an interim city manager becomes the city manager because he's qualified, then you save time. That person doesn't have to get acclimated to a new city, a new commission, a new department heads, especially at a time when there are so many projects going on in the city, like a new pier, a new $10 million museum, a new civic center, a city charter review, and many more items way too numerous to mention. I'm sure it also would be an easier adjustment for the department heads to deal with an interim city manager that they're already familiar with and a smoother transition. And also, let's not forget that there is a reason the last two city managers were internal candidates. The exact same reasons apply to tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Karen Shelley, 190 Durham D. I just have a question. I keep hearing this 20,000 figure and that seems very low. I'm wondering how much the placement agency charges. And I don't think money should be a deal breaker in this. That's not my question. My question is, how much will it cost to replace the city manager if we go outside? Is there a percentage that a headhunter gets? What's the total ballpark of that cost? Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, former representative.
Thank you, Mayor. Gwen Clark Reed, 1430 Southwest 6th Way. We have an assistant city manager, and there's a reason why we have an assistant city manager. It's for times like these when we have to make an adjustment for a period of time. The interim city manager, and particularly at this time, when we're just trying to go through the new budget, and he is familiar with the new budget. He has worked with the city manager regarding the new budget. So at this time, although we are looking outside, we're doing a nationwide search, as someone had said previously, for a city manager, I do think that at this time we need to go ahead and appoint Mr. McHugh as the interim city manager. And Mayor, are there two motions on the floor? I think I heard that there are two motions on the floor. I thought we had to dispense with one of them before we took another. Correct me if I'm wrong. Thank you.
Thank you. My understanding is we have one motion on the floor. We have one suggestion on another suggestion on the floor. We have one official motion, unless I'm incorrect on that.
That was my understanding from what I heard too, Mayor.
Thank you.
One official motion from the commissioner and then a recommendation from Commissioner Preston. Excuse me,
Parnas.
from Parnas. The
Thank you.
motion was from Commissioner Preston.
Anyone else from the public? Okay, I'm going to close it to the public then. I find it odd, and this is always the challenging part that we have when we do these things is, like I said, we could easily, not easily, because they're both excellent candidates internal, but we would come to a decision on one of the two would be a best fit for a permanent position. And that can be determined here, but it doesn't mean that those two candidates are necessarily the best that are out there beyond the city of Deerfield Beach. And it is odd that someone who constantly telling us to go out to bid on every single purchase that we do that has an expense that far exceeds $20,000, who doesn't like it when we piggyback things, wants us to worry about $20,000 when we have a $360 million budget. Can we get clarification on the cost of going out on this?
The cost is 24,500. And that doesn't include other expenses like travel and some other of those related things, but the cost currently is 24,500.
Okay, do we anticipate it exceeding $30,000?
I highly doubt that, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Hope that answers the question and puts it in perspective on a $360 million budget, where that falls into. I think we owe it to the residents to make sure that, and these are the same people who criticize us when we go internally, don't want us to go externally now. I want us to make sure that we are doing what is in the best interest of the residents. I think we have two really fine candidates, and I can make a determination between the two. It'll be difficult, but I'm sure I could for a permanent position. But I'm comparing it against the unknown, and I would like there not to be an unknown. I'd like to know what else is out there, and make sure that I'm making the right decision, because it's an important decision. There is a motion on the floor by Commissioner Preston. Was that seconded?
I will second it.
We have a second by Commissioner Hudak.
I'm sorry, Mayor, before the vote, just to clarify your motion, Commissioner Preston, that's effective October 4th, 2024, correct? Which would be the day after your current city manager's last day.
That is correct.
All right. And the second from Commissioner Hudak? Okay.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we have a motion on the floor, motion is second. We have roll call, please.
Commissioner Hudak,
Yes.
Commissioner Parnas,
No.
Commissioner Preston,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Drosky,
Yes.
Mayor Gans.
Yes. Okay. We're looking for a
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you. Motion and second for adjournment. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Meeting adjourned.